What's up, guys? This is Chaz and Charlie, and today I want to discuss on our walk how quitting weed saved me $20,000. So I first want to start. Of course, we are in a time where inflation is extremely high. I know wherever you are, you're probably going through some money woes, some changes in your budget. I know for me personally, I'm renting. In the past 2 years, my rent has went up like almost $600. And I stay in Memphis, which is particularly on the more affordable places or cities to stay in. But if it's happening here, I can imagine it's happening everywhere else. But yeah, it's things are getting extremely tight. So if you're still smoking weed, I'm sure you know it's gotten quite expensive. Where you used to cut, a 20 bag could last you a week. I guess depends on how much you smoke. A 20 could last you a whole week. Now that probably lasts you a day or so, or whatever you smoke. I'm sure you pay. Your consumption and price has went up over the years. So you may be asking, okay, how did quitting weed save you $20,000? Okay, while I was smoking, I really only imagined myself. I always said, okay, by the time I'm by the age of 50 or 45, I say 45, I'm gonna kick my habit of smoking. So I did stop by the age of 35. But let's say I stick to my original time frame of saying, okay, once I get to the age of 20, the age of 50, 45 years old, then I'll stop. Okay, so I did some brief calculations on like how much I actually spent on weed every week. So I would say a good average was about $40 per week. So, okay, $40 per week times 4 in a month, it is $160. There's my son way up there. He's walking home from college. Hold on.
Do you think it's time for you to quit cannabis? Well, I encourage you to make that transition to a new life, free from the chains of weed addiction. It's up to you to make that change, but sometimes we may need a little guided help. So I created a 30-day guided journal to quit cannabis. This journal helps you go through a 30-day process to create a new life. I am a strong believer of people helping themselves, but without being told what to do like a child. But we do need to be steered in the right direction sometimes. Each day focuses on a thought or idea for that day and prompts you to write down your own thoughts and your own reasons. This will help you understand yourself and your addiction. By the end of the 30 days, you will see a clear path on how to create a new life of marijuana sobriety. If you need the motivation to take control like I did, please visit Amazon to purchase the 30-day guided journal to quit cannabis. Your future self will thank you.
Okay, so on average, I'm spending $160 a week. $160 a month. So in a year's time, that's $1,920. Okay, let's say I did not quit until my projected age, say 45, 50. If it was 45, 10 years, I would have spent $19,200 on marijuana. And to some people, they may say, that's not a lot of money. That's not a lot. But I think in times of inflation or right now, I guess if you're rich, but the majority of Americans are not rich. They say the majority of Americans don't have $1,000 saved. So if you ask me, I think most people could benefit from 20 grand in a 10-year time frame. But think about what you can do with that money versus spending it on weed. Okay, let's say you're trying to save for a home. Let's say you're 25. You want to buy a home by the time you're 35. If you take that amount that you're spending on weed and just put it in a high yield savings account, and just let it build up for 10 years, you can, I mean, maybe you won't have a down payment for a home, seeing that everything is going up, but you will have a pretty good head start on just using what you spend on weed and applying it towards your future. And I do know people probably spend more than $40 a week on weed, especially if you stay in one of those legal states where you're buying it from dispensaries, which I know they can get very or quite expensive. Okay, let's think of it as a short-term thing. Let's say, okay, if you just go back a year, okay, I've saved that amount. I have $2,000 in the bank. Think about a vacation. You can go on a pretty decent vacation. I mean, not too far from home. If you're not like actually flying out 2-3 hours away, a nice 5 to 7 day vacation that you could use for that money that you've saved within a year. And think about the memories that actually last for a long period of time. You don't, in a year's time, you don't think about every time you've smoked weed. I mean, that's just pretty much, you've got used to just having a habit or a ritual of actually smoking. But a vacation with your wife, a vacation with your kids, those are memories that last with you for a long period of time. Of course, I remember vacations that me and my wife went on 10, 12 years ago that last until we're old in age. So you can take that small amount and apply it towards a more positive aspect of your life. And, it's not just going on weed. People may say, okay, well, I'm used to spending that amount of money on weed. It's not a big deal. It's just $40 a week. What's the big deal? Well, that's a big deal if you smoke for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And just like rent is going up, weed is going to go up as well. Believe me, what $40 got me 10, 15 years ago is not the same amount that it gets me today or got me a year or two ago. So it's going to only get more expensive unless you cut back your use. It's only going to get more expensive. Let's say if you spend like $160 a week, a week, which that's the case in some people's lives on how much they smoke, and like I said, depending on where they live, you're spending almost $3,000 a year just on weed. That's a lot of money that can go towards another purpose, something better in life. When you are quitting, if you are on a journey of quitting weed, I always suggest that you trade out weed for another hobby. Occupy your time, occupy your mind with something else, something new, a new business venture, a new hobby. That'll make the process much easier. But if it's something new that you haven't wanted to do in a long time, you might say, well, I don't have the money to do that. Okay, if you take that money that you're using on weed and apply it to your new goal, hey, you have the money. And if we just apply these long-term goals in our life and not just look for this immediate high and just say, I'm going to save my money, save this, not get this instant gratification that, again, once you smoke and you get high, you're like, okay, when am I going to smoke next? I'm going to get my next package. You are never fulfilled buying weed. You're just going to want to buy more. You just get in the habit of buying it every week. And the more you smoke, the less effects it have. The more you smoke, the stronger dose you need to get high, the more you need to be satiated. It's going to be a never ending thing. So why not kick the habit and trade it for something that's more substantial in life. And we may think of 10 years as a long period of time. It's not. I would think if I had quit weed 10 years ago and saved that amount. And there were times in my life where I smoked more than $40 a week. Some days I would buy an ounce every week. So I think if I quit 10 years ago, the amount of money I would have now. They always say, we always feel like, oh, if I had did this 10 years ago, or did this 5 years ago, or did this in the past, now it's too late. It's never too late. The next best time to do something is now. So maybe you have wasted 10 years of your life. Okay, let's think of the next 10 years. If you stop now, put that money towards another goal. Just think about what momentum you can gain. And again, not saying, say if you are trying to buy a house, that 20 grand might not be the full down payment for your home, but just cutting back that habit will give you a 20,000 head start, and that'll give you the momentum to know that you can do it in other areas of your life. Again, we are in times of inflation. Times are hard, and it's only going to get worse. They say that this year for Halloween, Americans spent $4 billion on Halloween stuff. It was 27 million or 2.7. Some millions went on just pet costumes alone. I would never buy Charlie a pet costume. That's stupid. But whatever. So we're wasting money, and this is not a time for us to be wasting money. And I do agree that inflation, I don't like the idea that inflation is new. We always go through inflation. Things always are going up. They're never going down. But at this, we haven't seen it go up at this rate in many of our lifetimes. And we don't have, we can't afford now to have these useless habits. If you smoke weed for 5 years, you know how it is to get high. You know how it feels. Let's grow up. And people are free to do what they want to do. This is America. Not saying you have to. You can do whatever you want to do, but is it really benefiting you? My mother, I've said, she still smokes. She buys a lot of weed. She buys 40 to 60 per week. She has no intention of stopping. That's not, and she's free to do what she wants to do. And she's grown. Of course she's grown. But are you being the best person you can be? She know how it feels to get high. Why not take that money and do something better? You've been there. You've done that. You've smoked. You've been high for forever. Let's go above that and be a better version of ourselves. And in America, where we live, sometimes you need some money to be a better version of yourself. So why not kick the habit and use that money towards a better goal? So again, me quitting weed has saved me over $20,000, and I was on a saving budget towards the end of my my weed addiction, but once I quit, I started saving a lot more. Because also now with weed, you're buying, depending on what you smoke, you're buying bongs, you're buying cigars, you're buying papers. In turn, if you're high, you're buying more food, more fast food, more junk food. You're spending more than just weed itself. Even when let's say I smoke cigars, so on top of that 40 a week, let's say I'm buying 2 packs of cigars. That's between $2 and $5 a week. That might not seem like a lot, but if you add it up for 10 plus years, you're spending hundreds on just cigars alone. So by quitting weed, you're going to save money. So in a time of inflation right now, it's the best time to save every dollar you can save for the future. So what do you guys feel? Do you feel like it's not a big deal? Do you feel like, are you inspired to quit to save some money? Are you saying 20 grand is not a lot? 2 grand a year is not really a big amount? What do you feel? Like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, comment below. I would like to know what you feel on the topic. Until next time, guys, remember, we are all in this together. Peace.